Concorde and the Boeing 747. Like I say, they never believed that they could fly. They never believed that they would actually be able to. They didn't think that enough people would have the money. They didn't think that enough people would want to fly that far. Like I said, Concorde was really just for flights to Australia and also like going from like the U.S. to it was just the farthest points flying, like Australia, Hawaii, maybe. There's only like 36 destinations total that the supersonic plane would actually be worth it, because the climb time and everything else, to get it up that high. But then once you get up that high, yeah, you can go really far, really fast. And we had some problems, and I really liked the B-2 better anyway. We were already working on the B-2 by the time the Concorde was coming along. I forget the exact details of it all, but yeah, it's my plane. I was using money from White Star Line's shipping fleet to basically support my aircraft. So anytime anybody took a ship, they were basically paying for the aircraft as well. So so a lot of people, because the ticket prices for the ships just basically dropped through the floor because everybody wanted to fly, and so tickets went up high. But what I would do is whenever anybody booked a passage with one of my carriers, we'd always give them the option of they could take it by sea or they could take it by air. And so a lot of people decided that they would rather go by sea, or some of them decided, yeah, they wanted to go by air. I mean, there are so many people in the world that I mean, a lot of people thought that the ships would never be feasible, that the aircraft would never work out, that it was just like a snipe hunt or whatever. It's just like like one of those mythical creatures that will never work or never pay out. They never thought that many people would actually want to fly. So they thought that I was going to go bankrupt and that would be it, and I'd never pay back my loans or pay back anything. But they didn't realize that, well, I'm White Star Lines, Lucifer. I'm King of the Seas. And like I said, I had total ocean domination for years. And then I had domination of the air. I was the only person who was crazy enough to actually fund it and actually put money into it, because I knew the concept was sound. So we were just pushing as far as we could, and we knew that it would work, that it did work. And like I said, we knew about the Volker's jet and everything else. So a lot of people, they always sold out, or they quit. Like I'm serious. You could actually see that you could actually watch as people quit their jobs just because they thought the company would be bankrupted. Well, better be looking for work next week. This company's got to be running out of money. I mean, but it was such a huge operation, they didn't really realize how big it was. They didn't know that the money was coming from drugs, coming from coming from taxes. They didn't realize that I actually had a world domination, and so they never thought that anyone could ever have that much money. So they would quit their jobs, they would sell out their stock, and then, as it was proven, as basically I went, basically up, they never thought that the engines could ever be that powerful, because the engines in the aircraft were being designed simultaneously. Like, we would be messing around with engines, like, hit it, just, and just, we'd be blasting the engines in one part of the country, and the aircraft shells would be being designed in another part of the country simultaneously. So the workers and people thought, oh, it'll never fly. They'll never get engines that powerful enough. And then come assembly day on big trucks, here they come. And they would bolt right up. And nobody ever thought that. And then they took bets on whether or not it would get off the ground. And then we'd already tested everything before we actually did it. So the engineers, me, everyone, we all knew that it was going to work. It would work. Whether or not there'd be enough fuel on the market for it, that was a different issue. But I was betting on that. I was like, we're gonna do it anyway. So I mean, everything else I'd ever done had already paid off, like Panama Canal, the Titanic. I was the guy that they always said, or the one that they always said, it'll never work, it's not gonna work, and then I did it. You know, every single time. So I mean, I had invented flight myself, so I knew it was gonna work. Like the Volker's jet, that was all me. I like the Flying Wing better, really, but, you know, whatever. I mean, the whole idea of having people go down, be able to service the engines from inside the ships, or do stuff, that was all me. And that was like a test bed, though. They could play around in there, and I mean, we already had those, so it's just that we hadn't actually opened it up to the civilian market yet. So, I mean, if he had the money, I mean, we had the jets, we had the stuff. It's just that I was the only one who could actually afford that much money. I mean, I had put out a lot of money. So when we came out with Concorde and the Boeing series and everything else, that was just refining and getting it actually produced. So like I said, I'm Irish and German and basically I'm from over there, so, you know, like, I mean, we did aircraft in, that's how I know about the aircraft and the old aircraft in Russia and stuff like that. Everything the Wright brothers did was just playing around, really. I mean, we had been building wooden aircraft for years, so, you know, even jet wooden aircraft, so it was just a matter of getting the engines that a little bit more efficient. We only had like 36% efficiency and stuff like that, and getting them just right. That was, and for the civilian market, and everyone knew that there was like this big thing that we had to prove it. We had to prove ourselves. And that everyone was going to be saying, no, it's not going to work, it'll never work. We knew that everyone expected us to fail. Of course. But like I said, the world's only flight simulator I spent the money for it, and it came at a high price. And I mean, it was basically, I mean, it's a computer pretty much. I mean, well, we tried a mechanical one, but then later on we went to the computer. Anyway, it all ties in, the U-2, I mean, the U-boats, the communication systems, everything. Like I was just using everything to get something going, and it worked. And no one, like I say, Nixon and all the other ones, everyone, they thought I was going to fail, and they thought that they were just going to bring me down or just get, well, the getting's good. But I had the money, so like I said, all the Titanic ship sales, basically like pretty much 90% of the shipping fleet, or at least 60%. I mean, people would follow along behind me and then build ships and do stuff themselves, but they didn't have the money or the power I had, because I owned the Titanic, I owned the Olympic, and I owned the Lusitania, and like I was just blowing money like crazy, but I was making that much. So, and because I mean, in the end, it's a matter of how much food you have. I mean, you have to have, in order to have people, you have to have the food. Without food, you can't have, when you get up to the when you get up to the real game, I mean, the real issues about life, you need to have the food, you need to have the water, and then you need to have the vehicles and transportation. I had all that. You know, I'm from the old days, the old tribal days, when it was ooga, ooga, ooga. You know, that's really where I'm from. So when we were coming into what is now, that is like, you know, it's just a matter of putting it all together and just using my people effectively. And like I say, I brought in Chinese. I was the one that said, it's okay. I'm here now. You'll be fine. And I proved it. So, you know, immortal God, basically. Anyway, yeah, well, I'm an inventor. I invent. So, yeah, well, you know. Anyway, though, but I know a lot of people naysayed, a lot of blah, 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 and a lot of people tried to pick at it, but, I mean, it was okay, freedom of speech. everyone's entitled to their opinion. So